Well, let's talk about this a bit more. I'm joined now by Belinda Parmar from the campaign group The Truth About Tech and the aunt of the first person to be diagnosed with a gaming addiction. Belinda, thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us. First of all, for people who don't really know much about this, given your experience of seeing a young person who you believe has become addicted to gaming, what does it mean?
So the definition of addiction, of how I describe it, is when life gets in the way of gaming. So essentially everything is about gaming. Everything else, like eating, showering, all those things, you know, being with your friends, takes a secondary role to gaming. And I think we need to use the word addiction more. I know a lot of people don't want to use it because they're scared of the word and it's being dramatic. Actually, we are growing up. We have a generation of teenagers who are growing up without empathy, who are constantly on their video games.
Do you think that it's something that is actually detrimental to their health, though?
I do, because if you think about a teenage brain, it's not fully formed. I mean, we as adults, we can be addicted to our phones. The average adult now checks their phone 100 times a day, but that's okay because that's our choice. What I'm worried about is video games companies who deliberately design their games to keep our children so addicted that I, as a mum, I just can't compete with the dopamine.
How do they do that? What are they putting into the cocktail of making a game that is different from someone who's making a television series that's addictive?
Well, it's all to do with the reward system and the dopamine hits that it gives. So it very much works in the same way that slot machine works. So you get a reward often enough to keep you addicted. There's that. There's also the graphics. You know, 20 years ago, the graphics on video games were not like they are now. If you take a game like Fortnite, which we all know, you know, they design the game so that you cannot just say, right, I've had enough, I'm off, because you let your team down. So the very way each of the reward system, the community aspect of the games and the graphics is to keep you addicted.
You were saying to me when watching that, our interviewee from Microsoft in the report there, saying they spend billions of dollars on research and development, and saying that they do take this problem seriously. What are tech companies, or what could they do to try to combat it? Because it seems directly contradictory to their interest to have people playing their games less.
Well, I think that's the point. There's no shared agenda because their objective is that often they will make money from keeping us addicted. Microsoft, for example, have a recent R&D budget last year of 12.3 billion. How much of that is going into mental health research? How much of that is going into understanding the issues? I would say none or very little. I mean, that's a question we need to ask Microsoft.
Your advice for parents, you were saying to me, you have children yourself. There'll be people watching this, I'm sure, who have teenagers right now, maybe playing video games and are a bit worried about the length of time they're playing them for. How do parents try to help their kids deal with it?
Well, it's hard, and I'm by no means the benchmark. I think understanding, you know, when the kids say they're on Minecraft, actually are they on Minecraft? Because if you look at the top best-selling game of 2018 and 2019, they're things that are much more aggressive, like Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption. So I think understanding what our children are playing, and also I think, you know, part of this is us not being addicted to our phones. So the fact that the average adult, as I said, you know, checks their phone 100 times a day, we have to be the role model. We have to keep those sacred spaces of eating together, doing normal family things, and encourage our children to do that. But it's really, really hard. And even the mums I spoke to this morning, you know, they're all saying how hard it is to stop them on the devices.
But do you agree, and do people you speak to agree, that there is a place for these games? Because, of course, there is the argument that for a lot of these young people, it provides a space where either in person or digitally they can connect with other people and form friendships or relationships in a slightly different way than you and I were used to.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's the solution is not to go and live on a remote island, but it is to recognise that the tech companies have to be accountable. They should be doing more. And you know, it's no coincidence that there's a loneliness epidemic in this country, that there is suicide rates that are higher than ever, on mental health. You know, how can it be that technology has exploded and all those things have exploded? There has to be a correlation, if not a causation.
OK. Belinda, thank you for coming and speaking to us. Belinda Parmar from The Truth About Tech.